Welcome to First Responder Financial Freedom Podcast. We talk to first responders all over the nation who are investing and working on businesses outside of their first responder jobs. Our goal is to motivate and educate each other and help provide a better financial understanding for a better future. Now here are your hosts, Mike Webb, Tyler Thrush, and Aaron Foster.
First Responder Financial Freedom. Intro. This terrible rock.
I didn't know if we were about ready to do a podcast or that was a 70s porno.
I feel like I need to slam a monster right now after that.
Slam a monster, hop on my Harley. Let's roll. All right, guys. So we had a guy who's late today, so we're just going to chop it up a little bit, talk about what we have going on. We got some interesting stories. Did some networking last week, looking at some more deals. So, Mike, I know you just had a guy, you said the police at one of your properties. What's going on over there?
Yeah. So life of a landlord, right? So we have this multi-unit property. This guy was an inherited tenant we've had for, I don't know, since we owned the building. So like four years or so. And over the last 30 to 45 days, he has gone from like what I would describe as socially awkward to straight up crazy. So I don't know if he was off of his medication, started using drugs. I'm not real sure, but either way, we were receiving multiple complaints. And then I have cameras there, so I can pull it up on my phone. I would just see this guy doing odd things like building what looked like a fort in the backyard. And then he started spray painting stuff outside, and then that moved inside to where he was painting the common areas. So we posted a notice and said, hey, we're coming in to do an inspection. We gave 24-hour notice because that's what our lease allows, and just wanted to check on the general well-being of the unit. So had numerous calls for service with the police department over the last week or so because different residents had called the police because of his disturbing behavior. So coincidentally, I got an email from the police department this morning asking about how they could contact this individual. So I called the lieutenant that emailed me and said, hey, I'm actually going there at 9:00. Would you like to meet me there? He said, absolutely. Call us 15 minutes ahead of time. So we did a walkthrough, and the guy, I don't know if you've ever ran a person that like huffs paint or the like dusters that like you spray your keyboard with. But in my experience running those types of calls, those people start to hallucinate, and it smelled like spray paint in there. Again, I'm not a cop, but there was things spray painted, and there was a bunch of spray paint cans and then a bunch of other crap. So I'll see if I can blur out his face and post some of the video because it's pretty entertaining.
What was he spray painting in the house?
He took the door off the hinges. Like he took the mirror down in the bathroom and spray painted adhesive all over the wall because he claims it's trippy. And just everything. Like, I mean, he painted our trash can outside, the gas meters, the hardware to my fence, like just all sorts of dumb shit. So now I have a bunch of gold stuff, and now an entire unit that needs remodeled. So it was uneventful, but the police asked if they could meet us there. I said, sure, that actually is probably not a bad idea. So got a video. We already had scheduled to go to court because of this, because I wanted to file the court paperwork as soon as possible. So we actually filed like 2 weeks ago. So I go to court next week. We'll see what happens. But he clearly needs medical assistance of some sort or whatever. But unfortunately, like I'm not a halfway house. He can't do it here. Like he's becoming a safety concern. And I hope he gets the help he needs, but that's just some of the crap you deal with as a landlord, man. Everybody thinks, oh, you just buy a place, you cash checks. And that's where I'm like, hey, buying the asset is one thing. Managing the asset is a totally different thing. And this is why I'm a big proponent of in-house management. So because of the threats he was making primarily towards females, and my property manager is a female, I was like, I'll just go. So because he seems to have a different relationship with males. I don't know if that's just us reading too much into it, but yeah, managing these places is where really the separation is. because anybody can go get the funding. Anybody can go buy a deal. We may argue about what a deal is. Anybody can fix it up. Anybody can throw a for rent sign on Facebook or in the yard. But managing people and managing your systems and processes, where it really comes down to what I think is what makes you successful at being a landlord or not being successful as a landlord. And don't get me wrong, like we definitely have had our struggles, but if you ask 10 people on the street about being a landlord, probably 9 out of 10 of them are going to say, absolutely not. I don't want to do that. Tenants, toilets, all that stuff, the common theme. And don't get me wrong, like I'm definitely at the point in my investing journey that I'm looking at bigger stuff that maybe is a little less tenant specific. But like if you sit there and have to take this peppering from these people all the time, I can see where it just becomes, it's not a long-term sport. You're going to need a level in between you and them. And that's what my property manager does. And occasionally I have to step in for stuff like this. So that's what my morning looked like. We'll probably have about $10,000 to $15,000 worth of work once I finally get them out of there. But, to keep it in perspective, we bought this building for about $230,000. We've fixed it up one unit at a time, one unit at a time. We fixed up the outside. We separated all the utilities. And now that building I could probably sell for, I would imagine, over $500,000. So I have a fair amount of equity in it. But, we've had a fire there. We've had stuff like this. I had to get rid of a bunch of people, deal with utility companies. So like, it's not like you just bought it and all of a sudden it was worth a bunch of money. So there was definitely a value add component there. And sometimes value add looks like you showing up at 7 a.m. to do a walkthrough with the police to get rid of a problem. So that's what my days looked like thus far. And then I get to hang out with you guys, chop it up. And then I'm going to go meet with my accountant a little bit later and try and figure out how I can not get boned next year as bad. So
as bad.
That's what I got going on, man. Yeah. So
what about you, man? What do you got going on?
Nothing. Mike's making me laugh about the accountant. I told mine, do not contact me until September. I don't even want to know. I don't want to deal with it.
Hold on. Well, I should preface, this is for my extension because I filed an extension.
I did too.
This is for last year.
Oh, for 2020? For 2020?
2021. 2021.
Yeah, I haven't done mine. Mine's, what is it? It's October 15th, right? I think that's our due date.
For the extension?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I'm out as well because I was like, let me find every single receipt I have and try to diminish some of this taxable exposure. Dude,
what if we just quit paying them?
Everybody together across the board.
Do that.
Yeah.
Get 3 hots in a cot after a while.
Yeah.
Government paid by taxes.
Yeah, there you go. I don't have a ton going on. What's weird is we're finishing up our last rehab right now, and then I really don't have anything in the pipe, which has been like a long time since I feel like I might not have anything going. So that's a little interesting. Just got my last rental rented out, and what else is going on? Rates have definitely kept going up, which is interesting. Kind of looking to see how that has an effect on inventory and just deal flow. And I've been doing a lot more. I did my private money, but I've been doing more hard money as a broker, which I kind of like because even though I'm not doing the actual deals, it's just keeping me fresh. I'm looking at deals every single day, and I took an existing relationship, and now it's mutually beneficial to where I'm helping him do his hard money stuff through the same lender he was using. I'm just the broker. And that's kind of fun for me too. Like we were talking about, after a while, like the tenants and stuff gets old, the same foot problems get old. So this is like a new fun thing for me to do, and it's been profitable so far. And then I know we're all looking at our self-storage stuff. So the deals that we've had come across the last 2 days, I actually have set aside time for the rest of the day to go over those, use the calculators we have, and just get comfortable. Because like anything, we don't know if we're going to buy them, but these are all deals that we can run through like a practice test. And by the time we find a deal, we'll all know. We'll look and be like, wait a minute, these numbers are different than what we've been dealing with, and we'll be ready to jump. And I'm stoked. I'm ready. Like I really want to buy at least one of those this year. I like the less, I guess, tenant heavy side of it, whereas we have tenants, but it's not the same type. And I don't know, something's fun and exciting. But other than that, That's it. Like I said, my marketing, I've been spending a ton of marketing with less results, which is not fun. I burned through my Google ad budget as of yesterday for the entire month, which was interesting. So yeah, so we're tweaking that. I've been messing around with Facebook advertising. We've been tweaking that a lot, and we've actually started to get more leads coming back in through that avenue. So just messing around, stuff's not working, so adapting, trying to overcome, and just see what happens. So that's it. What about you, Aaron?
Oh no, I changed. I was doing a refi, cash out refi, and I got it appraised a month ago, and guy came back yesterday and it's $11,000 more, or $15,000 more than it was a month ago, because other houses are sold. So I was like, yes, keep on going, put that needle in the right direction. So that was a good news for me yesterday. So I got same amount of cash out on that deal. And anybody who's wondering, cash out on a property is not a taxable event. It's not like you're paying taxes on it. So keep that in mind when you're looking at keeping properties. And then I'm going to increase my HELOC on that property now a little bit, just to have more access to more money. That was my strategy this past year, was get as much access to as much capital as I can for as little as I can. And HELOCs, for the most part, have been that number for me. So I've been looking at doing that some more. I don't have anything in the pipeline. I've been kind of focusing on what's next, and I really like storage, so I've been getting my touches. So I know, like, if you play sports, you want to get touches. You want to get touches on the ball. You want to get used to, like, making moves and know what kind of offense and defense people are playing and stuff like that. So real estate's not much different. I mean, we're just getting our touches on each deal and running the numbers on it and underwriting it. And like, okay, I didn't think about this before. So one of the ones I sent to our group, us three, the guy, the way he had it broken down, I was like, that helps me look at it much better, because I like itemized lines. Like, this is what you need to look at, this is what you need to look at, this is what you need to look at. And then once you get comfortable in those data points, then you can start trying to get creative. But I actually really like that one, because it's going to help me learn a new industry. It's just, I called a couple of them. One lady wanted to know how I got her cell phone number. One guy said, call me back in 10 years, I'll be ready to retire. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep your number. I'm gonna call you in 10 years. There's a couple other ones I've been reaching out to and just kind of like getting touches on, but it's like anything else, like, 98% no response, 2% response rate, but that 2% can make you $1 million potentially. So just going through the motions, trying to learn together.
A 2% response rate right now is phenomenal.
Yeah,
so,
shit. We're talking about marketing before we hopped on here. Let's talk about some marketing, because I mean, I was with Seth Teagle. We did a mastermind last week. Me, Mike, and Ian Hurwitz, and a couple of guys from Equity Warehouse in Baltimore. So I hopped on Seth's little talk around group yesterday, and he was saying through the giftology method, where you send to somebody a gift and they normally respond because they feel an obligation once they receive something. Mentally, they think they have to respond to give something back. So to market to one of the guys that he was trying to buy the property, he sent them a bag of oranges and said, call me when you get this. So, like, what are you going to do when you get a bag of oranges? Like, or a bag of potatoes, or a sack of grapes? Like, what the hell is this? So he got a response rate, got under contract. He said it didn't go through because of due diligence. Once he finished it, it didn't make sense. But like, for marketing, like I was just saying, like, sometimes Google works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes Facebook works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I used to get leads off of Craigslist. One guy wanted to sell me an airport up by where Mike lives at. And I was like, I mean, maybe. But like, I don't know. Have you guys done any creative marketing, Mike or Ty?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't sent oranges, but I always try to mix it up and see. That's why I like marketing. I think it's fun. You get out these crazy ideas, you test it, you see if it works, and then if it does, you implement it, and if not, you just try something new. But like, I think that would define as pattern interruption, right? You're just trying to do something that's going to kind of shock somebody out of their state and be like, hey. And that's why I know a lot of people, like, even little subtle things, like putting your picture of your family on a letter is going to be different than what everybody else is doing, or QR codes, or just little things that you can tweak and work. And that's the hard part about this is, you get used to something and it works, and then when it doesn't, people just keep sending it, hoping that it will get better, which I don't think is the greatest plan. Or you figure out, hey, what else can I test and figure it out? So for me, even though it sucks right now because we're slowing down, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to get these deals that are working? And like, I pay attention. I know Mike and Bill, are crushing it lately. They've had, I mean, from what I see at least, and Mike can clarify if I'm wrong, but like they've been doing really well. And my guess is because they're doing mail. And my other guess would be mail is very expensive. And while other people are pulling back, they are leaning in. And that's happened before where people's like right now, I'm guessing some investors are thinking, hey, is this an inflection point? And they're pausing their marketing. And Mike and Bill are spending the same, if not more money, and that's going to increase their deal flow just by doing the same thing that they've done before, and while others are pulling back. I've noticed that with Google, it's great because I won't change anything, and then all of a sudden, like October, November, December, people are pulling back on their marketing, and all of a sudden, the majority of my deals come in those 3 months. And I always used to think, oh, this is so weird. Why do I get all my deals in October, November, December? And I was talking with buddies like, dude, it's because everybody else is pulling back. They want to take it easy those last 3 months, and you have it on autopilot, and it's kicking in. So like I said, I'm watching, and I feel like, hey, if I have the capital to do it, I think I'm going to start mail again. I may do something more hands-off like an investor machine because my track record is pretty clear that if it's left up to me to do it on my own, it will not get sent regularly. So I can pay a little bit more and have it done and just know, hey, this is what I want to do. And as long as I feel like I have a 90 to 120 day runway of capital, then I think that's a good idea. So, I mean, not like I said, not oranges, but I'm always mixing it up. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of this business is either creative deal structuring or marketing because it scratches at it to try to mix it up and see what you can get to work.
Problem solving. But yeah, to Tyler's point, like, we've talked about it a couple of times. Like I'm just being consistent with direct mail, but you're right. It is expensive. And like I've said before, like when we interviewed Todd, we spent 6 figures on mail last year, and that is kind of astounding to me. But if you look at it as, would you give $1 to get 5 back? Of course. So just change the zeros. Like if you're going to give $100,000 to get $500,000 back, would you do that? Sure. So, and it doesn't have to be all at once. Like you just titrate that mailing out every single week so that you're not getting inundated all at once. But yeah, I was the same way. Like I had to systematize that and then offload it to my assistant because I would be like, oh shit, I forgot to order mail or schedule it. I didn't approve the proof. And the next thing you know, you're a week behind. And then it's like, oh crap. And then you're putting like 2 orders together at once. And it just, it's like, well, okay, so what I'm doing here, my actions are expressing my priorities right now, and my priority clearly is not consistent business, so therefore I'm not getting it. But deal flow is the lifeblood of the business, and without deals, you don't have a business. So like it's the direct mail is one component. Like we've been trying to get our SEO PPC game, which I know you're a lot better at, off the ground for a while, and I would say we're being consistent. We're using assistance through a like a third party or coaching program, but still pretty nothing crazy. If there was just like a magic oracle of deals like the MLS back in 2010, people would just it would be easy. You would just go to the well, get a deal, come back. But there's no like easy button for that. And if there was, we would all do it. So with that being said, there are white glove services like Tyler just mentioned, Investor Machine. I should ask Mike if he can get us something on that and I can post it to the group because first off, it's going to be an investment. Like you're probably going to shell out 10 or 20 grand out the gate, but you're also going to have a turnkey system to start finding deals. So they're putting in a lot of work that you would have to piece together and it would take a long time to do. So I could ask him about that, but that's probably not going to be for our average person there.
Content's important too. Like I know you guys, we talked about like putting your own face on there and kind of standing out or sending oranges to stand out. Like I posted a mailer to our group and it was a smudged phone number. So even if I wanted to call the guy back, I couldn't because his number is smudged and there's no other contact information out there. And one of the things that Mike Webb mentioned with Mike Floor was like, or Mike Floor had commented on was add your website, add your phone number, add an email address. Because if one of those gets smudged because of it got wet in the rain or something like that, there's other ways to reach out to the person. So I just made a new email address specifically for, like I've got multiple email addresses, but this one on Gmail is specifically for, I'm going to start advertising to commercial units and commercial properties and storage units and whatever. So I know anything that comes to that mailbox is not something I signed up for outside of marketing to these real estate deals. So I'm not going to get as much spam and waste as much as my time. If you're paying $1 or $2 per mailer, like that adds up. You send 1,000 mailers out, like that can bust your budget if you're starting off, and that's just your first touch. So, I mean,
sure.
Mike,
so like what is the point of marketing? Like the point of marketing is just to generate that conversation. What, like that piece of mail, the bag of oranges, whatever it is just for them to call you. And then after that, then you start the conversation or the sale or the pitch or whatever that is, and like, think about it. There's people that you listen to on a podcast where you've probably never met them in person, but they've been sending information out, right? As like their lead measure. They're just giving. And then as a result, you feel like you already know this person, you like, know, and trust them. They seem like they're a person of their word. And now, like, all of a sudden, whenever you have something or they need something, you're more likely to be like, hey, I know that guy already. Like, so your guard is down. Same thing with a mailer. So we take a complete opposite approach than I feel like most of our competition. You send a postcard. A lot of these guys will put just their first name and then like a period for their last name, so it doesn't display. It'll just be a PO box. It'll go to some Google Voice number, which mine does also. But instead of doing all that, what I do is my postcard is branded. So it has my company's name, which just happens to also be the website. So like, take your company name, just add .com onto it. Boom, solved. So my return address says the company name .com. It has our phone number. It has a picture of me and my business partner. It has our names on it and a QR code. The QR code takes you directly to a video on YouTube. That's, I don't think it's listed. Like, you have to have the web address thing to find it. And it takes you right to a video of me with my name saying what we do, who we are. So like, now you get Super Shady Guys card where it's like, hi, my name is Aaron . I'd like to buy your house at blah, blah, blah. And then when I call the number, they're not going to answer. It's going to be like, please wait while Google connects you to this subscriber, right? Versus, hey, this guy, there he is. There's a video of him. There's his business, all this information. Like, I'm basically leaning into the fact like we're credible versus hiding behind some little cloak that, like, what is this weird Wild Wild West character not want to describe, so marketing is all about building trust.
Messaging me?
What's that?
Why is Aaron Shady messaging me?
Oh.
Mike, can you guys tell when they scan that QR code?
So it's funny you said that. Somebody asked me that yesterday, and I can't tell, but I can see how many views the video has, and I can just kind of loosely keep track of that. So considering the amount of mail we send and the amount of views that video has, I would say that the vast majority do not scan it. Okay. But then again, the vast majority probably also throw that card away. Yeah. It is funny, like, because of where I work, and I purposely don't market to the jurisdiction I work in. I just don't want any conflict of interest. Now, I will do deals there, but they're all personal referrals to me. But I mail to the peripheral areas, and I've had more than one person call me or show up like, hey man, I got this card and I know that guy, like guys I work with, like one of the battalion chiefs is like, hey, my mom got this card the other day. So I just thought it was funny. Like, I was like, so does she want to sell or what? Like, I don't know what the problem is here. Like,
so I mean, it goes back to the point of funnels. Like the easiest way to break down is funnels. Like, you create all these little funnels. Like, this is going to funnel information this way through Craigslist. This is going to funnel information through mailers. This is going to funnel through Facebook ads. Like, you want to create these funnels and kind of direct them all into the same place, because then when you get to the same place, expert secrets. Is that in there? Is that in there, Ty?
That's a Russell Brunson.
Yeah, it's ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels, yeah, same concept. It's just you want to direct all of your outside sources into one internal source, and then pick and choose and work with those sources. So they're hot leads or warm leads, as Tyler called them affectionately. It's one of those things that people don't think about. You have to look and see what kind of return you have on your expenses, because if you're spending $10,000 on a 0% return because you're marketing to the wrong people, then it's not going to work out for you. You need to adjust And you need to maintain and keep track of those data points.
And don't expect, well, I mailed it once and I didn't get a 10% return. This is a consistency game, 100%. So, well, besides marketing, which we could talk about for a long time and whatnot, the biggest thing is getting out there and doing something. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Like, get out there. My very first marketing piece, you know what it was? Well, you know, like the big plastic, they call it chloroplast signs that, like, hey, cigarettes are this much, or natty daddies are this much, right? They zippy strip them to the pylons and stuff everywhere. I had a bunch of those from a guy that no longer worked for like Philip Morris, and we took them, we cut them in half, we made stencils and spray painted "We Buy Houses" with our phone number and put them bad boys all over God's green earth. Not necessarily advocating that you should do that, but that's how we started, and we got our first deal that way. So it doesn't always, homemade bandit signs because we're cheap.
I like it,
you know. So, but the point is, like, action. Where's that sticker?
That goes to show, like, bandit signs, though. Like, if you're gonna, what is that? Action cures fear. I like that.
Yeah.
So the bandit signs can be illegal in some communities. So if you put your name on there and they track you down, they can file against you.
That is true.
And file a nice chunk of change of your budgeting. Now is a lot of.
But it is a good way to get your code enforcement officer's phone number.
Yeah, but when they call you about it, be like, hey man, tell you what, I'll take my signs down. How about, instead of me going through this whole FOIA thing, you just send me a list of everybody that's got a code violation against their property. I'm trying to help you clean up your area, buddy.
So there's one area where the code enforcement officer is also a volunteer fireman that I just happen to know in passing. So I'm going to hit him up coming up in the next month and just say, hey, it's public knowledge, it's public information. You can call and get a list. But I'm gonna call him and say, hey man, like, what are your problem houses? And just see, I'll just go put some door hangers on them. I just paid $80 for 500 door hangers, so I can just walk up and put the door hanger on the knob if I think that the grass is overgrown. Mike just did one of those where the grass was overgrown. He walked up to the door, and I don't know if you bought it or not, but it's a good way to market to houses that aren't being kept up.
Yeah, no, that one's another police matter. I know that house because it's in my neighborhood, but she's been committed, like she's not mentally stable. So, like, long and short of it is, like, she's institutionalized of some sort right now. So I don't even know how that works. I do think it was purchased based on my research with a VA loan, and she's the only person on the note. So I'm like, wonder how I could, like, because now it's turning into a straight up eyesore. Like, it's going to be one of these houses that eventually hits foreclosure. But it's a nice house in a decent area, and it's going to go to hell. Guaranteed.
So all right, for that, in that regard, like, you were able to look up the history of it, who owns it, once you bought it for, you can probably figure out about how much she's paying, and if she doesn't get her power of attorney back, or if somebody has power of attorney, they can make a decision for her based on power of attorney to sell the house to help pay for her bills. Like, I've seen that before, where grandma goes into a home or grandpa goes into a home, and they lose their power of attorney or financials, and somebody else has to make decisions for them, and they can't afford the housing at $5,000-$10,000 a month, so they sell the house in order to pay for it.
I'm dealing with that right now. This is like the third time this has happened to me. The seller died once we're under contract, so trying to work through that. But this would be, so we talked about interest rates, and I'm kind of steering the conversation a little bit, but, like, interest rates are a hot button topic right now. So to me, it's like, all right, whenever people start to get scared, that's whenever it's like you have to find the opportunity. And I have to, like, remind myself of this sometimes, because, like, I'm the same way. Like, I'm working through 4 refis right now, and we were projecting like 4.25. Now we're at 5. Okay, whatever. So it's like, what if interest rates do go up? Yeah. What if interest rates go up to 7 or 8? Yeah. But the thing is, like, it was a deal to begin with. It wasn't a marginal deal. If it was a marginal deal, that change would have screwed it up. This change just made it, like, not as fat. That's all. So the deal I just talked about, like, okay, how do you help this lady? Because clearly she's got a problem. She's probably never going to come back to this house. It's, like, going to just eventually go down the road of disrepair, foreclosure, whatnot. So it's, like, not necessarily this house, but, like, okay, well, what can we do? Interest rates are up. people like this are now, maybe lost their job, or wait till the earnings reports come out in Q3, Q4, then they'll lose their job, right? So in order for us to combat the interest rates, let's just buy back in time by doing sub 2. So like this person got this house back in like 2019, their interest rate was 3.75. Now they're at like 7. That's like, okay, now the opportunity is to buy it subject to, because I'm basically going back in time, right? Versus paying 7.25 or whatever it's going to be by the end of the year. So
pretty high.
Yes. But
yeah,
who knows?
I think it's going to change.
I'm paying 5% right now.
You're paying 5% right
now?
now?
I think it's going to change.
And that was because of this podcast, because Aaron Foster made a connection with a credit union somewhere. And I reached out, said, hey, this is who we are. Here's our website. Here's our basically business plan. I have like this thing I use for my banking Bible. It's got all my documents, my personal financial statement, all that stuff. They're like, hey, we're looking to refi out private money on these. It's 5 places, but 4 addresses. And they're like, yeah, send us this, this, and this. Send it right over. Boom. Like within 7 days, we're starting the whole process. But
is this the Live, Work, or Worshiping up there?
Yep.
Yeah, that one. They're good to work with, man.
Dude, it's the best I've seen thus far. 5% is not what I wanted to pay, but I don't want to pay 7 either. So might as well get it now. And the good thing is they're doing a 25 AM. So it's amortized over 25 years. And I think it's fixed for 10.
10 or 15, you have an option.
So either way, fixed for 10 years. Like, I'd just rather have it all paid off by then. So, because by then I'll probably just be on an island. No, I'm just kidding. but so far, we'll see how that goes. But all right, well, what else we got? Merch.
Merch. And then real quick before we talk about that, I did want to say, because you're talking about action, action cures fear. I want to talk about the Facebook group, because what I love this week, my favorite post of the week was, and I forget his name, but it's the guy who researched the concrete business, implemented a plan, didn't really know what was going to happen, and now he's booked out for months. So to everybody who's on the fence, take enough time for preparation, but not to get to analysis paralysis. Try it out and then see what happens. I don't know. That was probably my favorite post of the week. I'm hoping that it works out for him, and I think we're going to have him on the podcast, because I love hearing stuff like that. I want to see a bunch of those posts, because that's why I think all 3 of us are so into this, is because you wanted to see people take control of their future. That guy I'm not positive, but I'm guessing you in those couple months he has booked is going to match his fire department or police officer salary. So that was it. I wanted to make sure that we talked about that. If you haven't seen it, go into the group and read his posts. Read all the posts. There's a lot of people doing stuff, and it's exciting to see. So.
And I feel like a dork, but like it and share it, because apparently there is some legitimacy. Like I always wondered why every time you listen to this a podcast, not necessarily this one, even though you should be, like leave a review and share, because I didn't realize it till I started doing this podcast, like where it's like that actually helps the thing show up. Just like when you have a popular post or popular video on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, like it does kind of like move it up in the frequency of eyeballs. So at the end of the day, we're still going to do this.
We're the number one first responder financial podcast in the world. Like we are the number one. There's nobody who's even close to us right now. So this is definitely
getting the belt buckles made.
Yep.
So
we got t-shirts.
I only know
t-shirts.
I only know a handful of folks that do kind of what we do. There is Facebook groups like sets, like I didn't even know about until like a month ago, and then happened to meet him at Ian's event. So that was pretty cool. But yeah.
But for first responders, we're number one.
That's right. So I'm not a squirrel.
Merch.
Oh yes.
Merch.
So I never have called a sweatshirt merch. My oldest son said that one day. I'm like, what? And so apparently that's what you call hoodies and stuff like that now. So I bought these hoodies, right? And I got them for Aaron and Tyler. And I was like, oh, that'll be cool. Cause we always joke that we're in uniform when we do the, whenever we do the podcast, because we're all wearing hoodies. And it's like, I was like, oh, this will be cool. You know, and that's all the more I thought about it. Well, then I took Ian one because we went to that event. I was like, oh, I'll give him one. You know, it doesn't say Carhartt, but maybe he'll wear it. So I posted a picture, then he posted a picture, and I had like probably a dozen people message me or respond to that, like, hey, where can I get one? I was like, honestly, I didn't really think about that. I didn't think anybody would want one, right? I was just like, oh, this would be cool. Like maybe do a giveaway every now and then on the podcast or on the Facebook group. So what we're looking for right now is a first responder screen printing company that could help us do this. So what I don't want, and my wife really doesn't want, is a bunch of boxes of clothing in our garage. So if there's a way that we could be in conjunction with a first responder company that could screen print these and then ship them directly to the person that wants them, that would be awesome, like an online store type thing. And then we had kicked around the idea of like, if say the t-shirt's $20, we charge $22 and a portion of that sale goes towards a first responder charity. So I don't know how all the details would work. And this is where the visionary comes out in me and not the integrator side, because I'm like, that's the vision. I don't know how the rest of it happens. Deuces. But, so if anybody knows anybody, please reach out to one of us, post in the Facebook group. We'd love to give them shout outs, you know, spread the good word and see what we could do. So if anybody could help, that would be great. So keep us in mind. What else? Anything else? I know this was kind of an impromptu coffee discussion at the kitchen table.
Are we going to call this episode? Do we want to call this an episode?
I saved it as an episode, but I think we can edit it. Yeah, I'd say just make it an episode.
All right, so this is going to be episode, what, 15?
Yeah.
I put 14, but it's probably 15 because I'm always a little behind.
It's crazy to think we're like 15 in right now, and it's been a couple months. Like
yeah,
even
so
the songs come so far. Like you put your mind to it. Go ahead.
So I used to make these like really audacious big goal lists, but like one of them, you know, now it's just a little thing here that I keep next to me. So I see it all the time. But one of them was to start a podcast. And I had zero clue how we were going to do it, what to do, like all that. So I still don't think we have much of a clue and a lot of the other stuff that goes along with it. However, literally just before this episode, or we start recording, I had posted something because I stopped at a self-storage facility to drive around this morning after I went, you know, knocking on somebody's door with the popo, right? And I've just been driving through, like, count how many locks, like, okay, these units are big and they only appear to have half of them rented out. So I'm just kind of like trying to reverse engineer some stuff, see like what they have and don't have. I didn't see any cameras, no gate. I was like, who would do that? But anyways, so I took a picture, posted it, because whenever I was talking to Stratton Brown at Ian's event, he talked about your personal brand, which I still feel cheesy saying something like that, but like there's a lot of merit to it. I was like, oh, I'm just going to, hey, nobody knows that I'm looking for self-storage deals if I don't tell people, right? So I posted that, and then that generated a phone call directly after that. He's like, hey, man, I just saw that post and I'm looking too. And, you know, here's what we're doing. Here's what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. So it generated conversation, and we're going to have him on. I'm not going to blow the whistle yet, but it's somebody that we all know who their last day at the firehouse is less than 2 weeks away, or is 2 weeks away. So they are out. But so I said, hey, man, we need to sit you guys down and chat, right? So he said, hey, man, we got to get out and network. Not a lot of people know what we do. And he said about this Facebook group and the podcast, he's like, that is awesome. You guys are killing it, blah, blah, blah. And I think killing it's a very ambiguous relative term, but
number one, still number one.
but the biggest thing, just like we talked about with the mail, like when I decided to do this, I committed to do it for the entire year, because I knew if I said, we'll just see how it goes. It's very easy to be like, oh, well, this guy forgot that we're on Eastern Standard Time. He didn't show up. We didn't record. But like, I want to commit to doing this for the entire year, and then we'll kind of re-enter that OODA loop and kind of orient and decide where we're at and whether we should keep going, what we should do, should we change it up? But as of right now, 14, 15 episodes in, the feedback has been relatively good. So to circle back to what we just said a couple moments ago, like, if, you know, this is kind of like a selfish ask, but like, if you find value in this, please share it, write a review, send it to somebody that may benefit, because there could be one little nugget, and that's my hope, one little nugget to change somebody's thinking or the way they look at something that could then change the trajectory of their personal or financial life, or both. So, you know, share it with people, because they may need to hear some of this. Maybe not what we have to say, but maybe what our guests have to say. So, yeah.
Feel better?
My beard is going to start. I'm just.
All right, guys. So if you're going to do a podcast with us, please have a quiet area. And
you're about ready to have a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. Please have a computer in front of you, in a quiet area, and a dedicated hour of space on Eastern Standard Time. If you're sitting in a car or you're on your phone, it makes it hard to hear. So we're trying to make this a little bit better for people to gain knowledge and something from. So moving forward, it's one of the requests we have for you. And we want more people on the podcast. You might not think you have a whole lot of experience or a whole lot to provide, but I mean, this is just a conversation between a couple of folks. So one thing I want to highlight in the group, Allie Anderson, who we had on the podcast early on, she actually linked up with somebody at one of the events I put on, and she sold him a house a couple of days ago. And then another person in the group linked up with another member, and I think she and her husband bought their first investment property through him long distance. So there's real network connections being made in the group. And there's a lot of knowledge in the group that we can chat around with. I talked to a couple guys on a fairly regular basis right now. I'm actually going to talk to Tyler offline shortly, because he has requests about information about mortgages and stuff like that. But look, going forward, I mean, we're at 42 minutes right now, but going forward, like, there's more stuff you guys want to see. I know I post a lot on there. I try to put something on there every day to increase the ratings on Facebook, just because follow and share, all that actually makes a difference to help other people. And that's our whole goal for this thing, is to help fellow first responders and just do good things, and hopefully it comes back to us one day. You guys want to wrap up?
Absolutely. That's the lead measure, man. But just give with never expecting anything in return. That's ultimately what it comes down to. But I have no doubt that besides the three of us, by the end of 2022, I know for a fact I will do a deal with somebody in this group somewhere in this country. I don't doubt it for a single second. So, you know,
I'm getting.
If there's anything you want to hear, any certain topics, guests, please reach out to us, because seriously, guys, we don't want you to get tired of this. Just three talking heads rambling, but we want it to provide value to everybody. So please reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear more of. Other than that, I don't have anything else. And as my friend Big Wayne says on the morning conference call, that's all I have. And I thank you.
Thanks again for spending some time with us today. If you found value in anything you heard, please share with someone who may benefit. We look forward to connecting between shows in our Facebook group, First Responder Financial Freedom. Till next time.